I wanted to play the football career of the greatest footballer of all time, or soccer star, however you want to spin it, Cristiano Ronaldo. And no, I'm not about to make one of the most gifted athletes on the planet into a damn kicker. My guy is about to be the starting running back at IMG Academy in Florida. We start the career of 18-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo in his senior year at IMG Academy. But even though Cristiano was one of the most athletic players in all of football, he was struggling with this new and more physical game. This definitely wasn't the football that Cristiano was used to, but being on a stacked IMG team meant that he was going to have opportunities. That meant being in open space and using his ridiculous feet to make defenders look silly. The first quarter of Cristiano Ronaldo's high school career came and went, and after going scoreless in the first quarter, Ronaldo would find the end zone, giving IMG the lead. And just like that, he was building his confidence up and would find the end zone once again late into the second quarter. It was impressive watching a guy who had never used his hands before catching passes. After a rough start to this game against Boca Raton, Ronaldo and IMG would finally pull away in the second half, as Ronaldo finished with a ridiculous 200 yards and 5 touchdowns in his first ever football game. It only took a game and some change for Cristiano Ronaldo to realize he was one of the best football players in all of America, and that this whole football thing really wasn't as hard as he thought it was going to be. But seeing as though he was 6'2", that meant he was a much bigger target for the defense, and they was laying the wood. Pause. But whenever this man got into the open field, there was really no one like him in the country. I mean, he was making guys look silly. He definitely reminded me of the rice-skinned Reggie Bush, except he actually might have been faster and more explosive. And after struggling a little bit against Boca Raton, everything was easy this game against Brownsville, and IMG was on their way to an easy dub. And the one thing about this school is they were going to have a chokehold on this game before the second half even started. With half of this high school team going to a major Division I college next year, Cristiano had to start pondering where he was going to take his talents to. Cristiano was ridiculous in the open field, just as you'd expect. And screen passes were the easiest ways to do that. Every time he touched the ball, it just seemed like he could go and score it. But he wanted to prove that he could do more than just run outside and make people miss. He could run down the middle of the defense and go and score touchdowns. And obviously, with Cristiano being one of the most explosive players on this ridiculously stacked IMG team, it was no surprise that they kept putting him in Wildcat and just letting him get loose out there on the defense. But even though Ronaldo would get them all the way inside the 30-yard line, Tarpon Springs wasn't like the other two teams that they had played earlier in the season that they just ran all over. They were playing good defense, and after stopping IMG on fourth down that last possession, they would actually scoop this fumble up and take it all the way back to tie the game just before the half at 7-7. Things were looking scary, but Cristiano would go back into the Wildcat and give IMG the lead again. But on another crucial fourth down, they would get stopped, and just like that, Tarpon Springs was up 17-14, and IMG would throw another interception, and it looked like everything was lost. IMG would burn all 3 timeouts and hold him to a field goal, and Cristiano would fumble on the kick return and almost lose the game completely there, but would make up for it on the very next play as he would catch this pass and bring him inside the 20-yard line, and the next play would throw the game winner. After escaping last week's game with a touchdown in the final seconds of the game, IMG needed to tighten up if they wanted to be a national championship contender, and if that was going to happen, it was going to be on the back of Cristiano Ronaldo, who was easily the best player on the team. He was able to put 2 touchdowns on the board, with the second one coming in the second quarter. But they knew that they couldn't slack off, because if they did, plays like this were going to happen where they took losses. At this point, Ronaldo was tight, and he would catch this pass on the sideline and have the ridiculous balance to stay in bounds there. The very next play, he would catch this pass over the middle, and if his own teammate didn't get in the way, he actually would have scored easily. Obviously, he was going to score that possession anyway, so it didn't matter very much. Palm Harbor was 4-0, taking on IMG, who was also 4-0. And I know it says 0-0, but just take my word for it. IMG was undefeated at this point in time, and with just 3 regular season games left in the season, including this one, IMG needed to keep turning the wheels and prepare themselves for a run in the Florida State playoffs, which was one of the most competitive in the country. Ronaldo was very clearly the focal point of the offense, but the other players on the offense started to finally get things going, including this ridiculous catch by the IMG receiver. Ronaldo would sit most of the second half, and after the game would get offered by USC. Being that IMG does play a national schedule, they will play this game in Texas, but Texas teams just didn't have enough speed to keep up with Ronaldo and the rest of the IMG offense. All it took was back-to-back Wildcat plays by Ronaldo to take it all the way and give them the first first lead of the game. And after IMG's kicker missed the extra point, I guess Ronaldo probably should have been the kicker as well. But it honestly didn't matter because IMG was going to put 6 on the board again. This defensive stand on 4th and 3 was irrelevant because the Texas team just simply didn't have it. And with CR7 making his way down the sideline, he would set his team up for another opportunity to score. This time catching the wheel again and taking it down inside the 5-yard line. It took all 3 plays from the goal line for IMG to score. They'd get it done, and Deion Sanders would end up offering CR7 after the game. Cristiano Ronaldo looked like he was going to tear his ACL on this play. He was getting blown up every other play against Sunset. I mean, who would have thought a 1-5 team would give Ronaldo and IMG this much trouble? IMG was scoreless going into the second quarter, and Ronaldo had to finally take things into his own hands. Literally, as he would catch this pass over the middle of the field and finally score, giving them their first points of the game. It was all tied up at 7, but this touchdown before the half would give them the lead, and another opportunity just before the break would let them extend it to 14. It's always the somewhat shitty teams that give good teams the biggest problems. I don't know if it has something to do with the good team just not taking the bad team seriously, or the bad team just rising to the occasion and trying to pull off the upset. But we were into the 4th quarter and Cristiano was still in the game, something that he hadn't done all season since they had been blowing opponents out. But after putting the ball in the hands of Cristiano play after play after play, IMG would finally extend this to a 3-touchdown lead, and they said pass the sticks. They blew the doors off of them in the 4th, and Ronaldo finished with 5 total touchdowns. Undefeated Miami Beach was taking on IMG in the Miami State playoffs, and they came in this game on a mission. They tried to end Cristiano Ronaldo's life with these hits, but he just kept getting up. Miami Beach would have a lapse defensively, and they would end up letting Ronaldo catch this pass wide open on the screen, giving them the lead. This man Ronaldo must have took all these dudes' girlfriends because they were coming and headhunting Ronaldo every single chance they could get. Ronaldo said bet and put the team on his back, rushing it in for another touchdown, giving them the 2-touchdown lead. And just before the half, as time was running out, Ronaldo would end up catching this pass but would fumble, but the IMG player would recover, and Ronaldo would atone for his sins as he'd take the wildcat snap and take it in for a touchdown. It was evident Miami Beach didn't belong in this game, and Ronaldo was going to make sure that that was clear, as he would take this run and take it all the way down the right sideline. No one was going to catch him this time. IMG would advance to the next round of the playoffs behind another workhorse performance by Cristiano Ronaldo, accounting for every single touchdown again. And it was clear that IMG was the team to beat. The second round of the state playoffs in Florida was a rematch between IMG and Boca Raton. IMG had beat Boca Raton in week 1 of the season, but it wasn't a blowout. And that was the very first game of Cristiano Ronaldo's football career, and they were giving him trouble, and they continue to do so in this game with much bigger stakes. But just as you would expect, IMG was simply the better team, and Ronaldo just kept getting his. Every chance he got, he would make someone miss or break a tackle. These touchdowns before the half were just the nails in the coffin, and Ronaldo would sit the rest of the second half already generating a crazy stat line. IMG would end up in another rematch against Sunset this time, a team that was somehow 1-5 earlier in the season. But here they are, 7-2 in the state playoffs, and somehow this game is also in Texas. But it didn't matter because Cristiano Ronaldo would turn shit up. And this game was over before you knew it. It was 17-0 in the second quarter, and Ronaldo would take this run and make a bunch of the Sunset defenders look ridiculous. The winner of this game was headed to the state championship, and IMG sure as hell wasn't going to let Sunset upset them. Cristiano Ronaldo started the state championship game off with a ridiculous kick return that would set them up in enemy territory. IMG was the clear favorite in this game as they had about 17 guys with Division I offers on their team, but their opponents weren't just going to lay down and let them have it. Cristiano felt this hit down his spine, but would take the handoff the very next play and score anyways. After Cristiano Ronaldo took over kick return duties this game, he showed why he was the most electrifying player in the country. He would take this punt and look like prime Devin Hesser as he would take it all the way for the touchdown, giving him a 2-score lead in the state championship game. Cristiano Ronaldo was going to have his choice of any team in the country, and at this point he really hadn't given a lot of thought to it. So make sure you let me know in the comments where you think CR7 should go, and do you think it matters if he's number 7 or not. But back to the game, IMG had a 4-touchdown lead after Ronaldo would run this play in, and just like many of the other games before this one, IMG was going to have this one decided before halftime on the back of Cristiano Ronaldo's best game yet. And if you got this far, please subscribe.